Welcome to Blin School channel. Here we study Russian in a creative and effective way. My name is Anna, I'm a professional Russian tutor, and today I'd like to suggest you 3 strategies how to reach your language goal quicker if you study Russian by yourself. So, how much time actually do you need to learn Russian? And how to make your own self-plan more efficient? We'll look at 3 different situations. When you have very limited amount of time and you need to acquire Russian quickly. The second situation is when you have a lot of time to study, but you want to reach your goal quicker. For instance, you have 1 or 2 years maximum. And the third situation is when you don't really have a time destination and you just want to enjoy the process. So which learning strategy would be effective in each of the situations? Let's have a look. The first situation, it's when you have limited amount of time and you need to start speaking Russian really quickly, maybe in 2, in 4, in 6 months. The main recommendation in this case to study with a tutor who will help you to get speaking and listening skill much faster than if you do it by yourself. But if you practice by yourself, I would have only one recommendation for you is to listen as much as you can. Ideally about 4 hours a day. You need to listen Russian songs, Russian films, Russian podcasts, anything in Russian. It can be listening from textbooks, it doesn't matter. But ideally, you should listen about 4 hours a day. This way, you have a chance to reach your goal in 2, 4, 6 months. While you do listening, you don't need to concentrate on every word people say. You can actually listen on the background. It still will be useful. Now, the second situation. If you don't have time limit and you have about 1 or 2 years to acquire Russian and to start speaking it fluently and confidently. How much time do you need to do this? To be honest, you can learn all grammar and all the necessary vocabulary you need in 3-4 months. But the thing is with any language is that you need to gain the skill of speaking. And it's like riding bicycle. You cannot learn how to ride a bicycle if you just read about it. And the same with the language. If you only read books, if you do lots of exercise, but you don't practice speaking, unfortunately, your skill of speaking the language will not be strong enough. Very common situation that I see in my students, the new people who come to me, is that their vocabulary, grammar, listening skills, for example, 7 out of 10, but their speaking skill is at 1 out of 10. And there is a situation of disbalance. Even though they can find some tests online and pass it and get some good level of Russian, as a teacher, I can see their level is not enough because if they start speaking Russian, they will not be able to do it. Yes, they could understand what other people say, but the point of learning another language is that you eventually obtain the skill to communicate with other person. Speaking skill should be practiced separately with specific approach and practices. So if you organize your learning process by yourself, you need to pay attention on 2 different skills: the speaking skill and all the other language skills. If we talk about all the other language skills, you can take any student book, you can open any YouTube channel about learning Russian, you can download any app. Basically, there are lots of materials that you can choose from and find some complex study path that you will be happy to move along. Just don't stop only at Duolingo, go further, do something else. Find some more good materials. But it's not enough. Even if you spend hours to practice Russian, even if you do it every day, if you practice Russian only by your textbook or by your app, it's not enough. You need to practice speaking skill as well. To do that, you can find language partner. You can find a tutor that will teach you not in academic way, but just help you to practice speaking. If you have some acting skills, you can watch an extract from a film or from series, and you can learn what people say and then try to act it. This will model the speaking situation, but still it's not ideal. Some people have this assumption that first they'll learn the words, they'll learn the grammar, they'll learn the letters, and only after they start learning how to speak Russian. This is a wrong approach. I suggest you try to balance all your skills from the very beginning. Even if your level of Russian is 0, I guarantee you, you still can start practice speaking already on your 0 level. When I have trial lessons with my potential students, they start speaking Russian after 15 minutes of our conversation. I've noticed that there are a lot of motivated students out there. There are a lot of people who can study themselves perfectly, really. And they don't really need academic approach, and they don't really need a tutor with homeworks. They can do it all themselves. But unfortunately, they cannot get feedback from the teacher. They cannot get their pronunciation right. They cannot bring the words that they just learned from passive to active. For these people, I created a speaking program where we communicate for 30 minutes only. It's a short class where we don't concentrate on vocabulary or grammar. We only concentrate on speaking and your pronunciation. If you're interested to try, please text me on Telegram or fill in the Google form. You can find it below the video. The third situation is when you don't have any time limit. You just float like a boat and you're enjoying the process. You don't need to rush. You just really like this process of studying. It's like a hobby for you. In this case, I'd recommend you to find some Russian community. For example, if you like playing volleyball and you have sports section in your city and you know that they have international community, Russians included, then I suggest you to go there and sign up and start meeting people and start making friends. Since the war with Ukraine started, over 1 million of Russians moved abroad. So I'm sure you can find Russians in your own town. Also, a lot of Russian people, they are looking for a language partner to practice their English. So you can find somebody to do the exchange. They can speak English with you and you can practice Russian with them. But the most important thing is that you'll start having community in your life. Even if it's only one person that you keep in touch with, it's a big step forward, because this person will be a motivation for you, because this one person or this community will always be a reminder for you to keep practicing Russian, and you'll have motivation for longer period of time. A lot of people drop after 2, 3, 6 months. They just lose interest because there is nothing in their life that has connection to Russian language. YouTube videos might be not enough in the long run. So I really recommend you to find something physical next to you. So it would be a reminder and motivation for you to keep going. It was 3 strategies that I'd recommend you to do if you study Russian by yourself. Let me know in the comments what topics in Russian are you struggling with, and I'll be happy to break it down for you in the next videos. See you soon! Пока-пока!